This is the Evil Never Dies podcast with Brett and Carl. This podcast may contain adult themes, violence, and strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Evil Never Dies podcast. I'm Brett here with Carl. And what's going on, man? Not much. Been a slow fucking week. I know that.
Not for me. It's been a busy ass week.
Yeah, you've been working over a lot again.
Working over, going to classes, doing all kinds of shit. I did not go start on the backyard today, and I'm kind of pissed at myself that I did not. We got to get that done at some point.
Yeah, well, we're going to, it's hot already, so we're going to have to get up early in the morning, like at 7 and start that shit, so we're not dying by noon.
Oh, I can stay out there if I have to, but I don't know. I really don't care that much. If there's a haunted, there'll be a haunted. If we do it, and we got the whole month of September, so fuck, I don't know.
If it cools down then, but we'll get her done.
It probably won't cool down then.
We'll get her done.
Last night, as we record this, which is Saturday, was the 50th anniversary of the release of the movie Jaws, the actual to the day 50th anniversary. So I took it upon myself to watch Jaws with Michaela and Nico, who loves sharks. So it was a fun experience watching it with them. And that is our topic tonight.
How old is he? 4?
He's 5.
5?
Yep. And Jaws is not a bad movie. There's nothing really bad about it, honestly, period.
Well, it's rated PG.
It was rated PG, yeah. And I think today it would still be rated PG, if not less.
Yeah, which sort of surprised me with the blood. You know, there's a lot of blood.
Not that bad. You'd mentioned a few, well, I think the last Evil Talk that the 50th anniversary was coming up, but for some reason I thought it was in September or October, because apparently they're going to re-release it to the theater, but they're not re-releasing it till then, which makes no damn sense.
Yeah, I know. I've seen
Unless
that.
they're just not wanting to compete with summer movies, you know, like the Superman's coming out, and
yeah,
thanks. They're putting another Jurassic Park movie out. I don't fucking know why, but they are. So maybe that's what it was. But anyway, somebody at work said it was the actual coming up, and I'm like, well, crap, Brett. This is one of your favorite movies. I guess we should cover the damn thing on its 50th anniversary weekend. Now, I will say, I am not an expert on the movie Jaws. Just like when we did Carrie, I gave that out. I do know more about Jaws than I did Carrie. So some of these 70s movies are just not my thing. So that, with full disclosure, this is probably going to be more of a Brett episode. And
well, you were itty bitty when it came out too in 75.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and some of these movies just really wasn't on my radar as a kid, honestly. You know,
because I was young when it came out.
I was, like we said last week, I was more interested in watching Friday the 13th and Halloween and Freddy than watching, you know, a movie about a shark when I was a kid. It just wasn't a big appeal to me then. So I'm not the biggest expert on Jaws. So we'll talk about it as we go.
All
and
right.
I'll give you a 5-year-old's opinion of it as well. So interesting opinions.
All right.
You don't have a hat on.
No, I don't.
You look better without a hat.
Do I?
Yep.
I got my one gray strip over here, though.
Dye the shit.
I ain't dying nothing.
You're going to look like an old gray-headed dude from Saxon. Biff, whatever his name is.
Biff?
Yeah.
All right.
He was actually the first dude that let his hair go gray. I got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I ain't going to spend the money to dye it.
Just wear a wig like
Wear a
Kiss.
wig. Oh no, I'll just be gray.
I hear Ace Frehley wears a wig.
Does he really?
That's what I've been told.
Did he lose all of his hair?
I just think they cut their hair short and wear wigs when they're out. I think they've been doing that shit for years, all of them. I think in the 80s, half the time they were wearing wigs or hair weaves. I think the hair weave was big. We just didn't know all that stuff back then. Hey, look, I'm wearing my pentagram shirt again.
Oh,
It's actually pretty comfy after I washed it. I bought it new, and had it
yeah.
on, I think, for the show that week. And I was like, this thing
It's
it's
a little
actually
itchy.
quite comfy now.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to Jaws.
All right, Jaws, directed by
Steven
Steven Spielberg. Screenplay by Peter Benchley and Carl Gottlieb, based on the novel Jaws by Peter Benchley, produced by Richard D. Zanuck and David Brown. Cinematography, Bill Butler. And he did a great job with all the shit they had to go through. Very good cinematography. Edited by Verna Fields. Music by the great John Williams. And it's probably one of the most known music or scores for a film ever. Probably,
I would say so.
Probably next to Halloween, I would say.
I would say so. Yeah.
For sure.
And probably Psycho before that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's in the top, of course.
For sure. It's like it's that the first two notes and you know what it is.
Yeah.
Production companies are Zanuck Brown Company and Universal Pictures. Distributed by Universal Pictures. Release date of June 20th, 1975. Has a running time of 124 minutes. Country of origin, United States, English language. Had a budget of $9 million. And I think it went over budget a couple
Went over
million.
budget and the shark didn't work half the time, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, a lot more as we go.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And went over on time too. It was supposed to be 3 months and ended up taking 7. So
yeah, right. That was I'm surprised that Spielberg didn't get fired for that. He thought they were gonna fire him.
yeah. And at the box office, made $477.9 million. I think that was like in just the first 7 months that it was out.
Right. Sorry, I'm still on Facebook ranting.
It's considered the like the first blockbuster movie.
I think it was.
So yeah, they'd never seen nothing like it.
Well, and before we go any further, is this really a horror movie?
Not really. I would
I
call
don't think
it
it is.
more of a action suspense,
Action,
maybe
suspense, sort of Hitchcockian, if that's a word. I think I just invented maybe.
thriller, sort of, maybe
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
consider this a horror movie at all. A lot of people do.
It does have its horror aspects though.
Yeah.
But it's actually not considered a horror movie.
Okay, I just sort of curious. Like I said, I'm not that familiar with a lot behind the scenes on the Giles, as I used to call it. Jowls, not Jaws. You're supposed to
Jowls.
laugh. Jowls.
Jowls.
Yeah, you're rocking the hair. Looks a lot better.
Rocking the hair, huh?
Yeah, you got all your good hair and you hide it in the hat.
People probably think I'm bald, huh?
I always thought you were
not
bald, and
bald.
I've known you all these years.
I'm not bald. All right, what's up next? What are we gonna go?
I threw you off.
I guess we can go over the plot.
Well, I guess the plot's pretty easy. Damn, Jaws is killing people in the ocean. That's the plot.
It is really.
That's pretty much the plot.
It does have a good story though.
It has a good story. It starts out with The two idiots go swimming in the ocean, and a shark attacks and eats her, the female,
Yep.
and they get in
Spits her out on the beach.
this Amity Beach. Is that any relation to Amityville? I don't know.
I don't think so. No.
No, actually, this came out before Amityville, I would think.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, the Amity Beach. So they shut the beach down. Everybody gets mad. They open the beach back. Jaws strikes again. Then they catch a fake Jaws, possibly a brother. We don't know. And then they go out looking for Jaws, and that's about the plot of the movie. If you haven't watched this, and I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Yeah.
go watch it, I guess.
Pretty sure everybody that watches this show has seen Jaws.
I'm sure everybody's. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know why I give the plot of these things, honestly.
Well, Carl, sometimes you need to give the plot.
Not for Jaws.
Some movies we do, people have never even fucking heard of, probably. So
yeah, like Subspecies, which was so bad it got deleted. That was our lowest rated show ever. That was a non-evil talk. What were they used to call them? Free for alls.
yeah.
All those. I think we finally got that show running good now. But yeah, that Subspecies tanked.
Speaking of that, that'll be next week's show. Will be the Evil Talk
Subspecies?
Live. No, Evil Talk Live.
Yeah, and I don't even know what the hell y'all are going to talk about.
I don't either. We'll figure something out.
Possibly. Back to Jowls.
All right. I guess we'll go over the cast here. Really good cast.
Excellent cast, yes.
First off, we got Roy Schreider as Brody, Robert Shaw as Quint, Richard Dreyfuss as Hooper, Lorraine Gary as Ellen Brody, Murray Hamilton as Vaughn, the mayor of Amity, Carl Gottlieb as Meadows, Jeffrey Kramer as Hendricks. He was like the other police guy. Susan Backlany as Chrissy, Jaws' first victim.
Oh, yeah. I saw an interview with her on all those extras.
Yep.
Was not impressed with her interview.
Next off, we got Jonathan Filey as Cassidy, Ted Grossman as estuary victim, Charles Rebello as Michael Brody, Jay Mello as Sean Brody, Lee Fierro as Mrs. Kintner, and Jeffrey Voorhees as Alex Kintner.
Voorhees?
Yep. Jason's brother.
These Voorheeses are everywhere.
Craig Kinsbury as Ben Gardner.
Isn't he from Halloween too?
No.
No, it's Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer. Robert Nevin as the medical examiner. Peter Benchley had a cameo as the interviewer news guy.
Yeah, that was interesting. I never knew that till I watched the extras.
And this is funny. Tim Aguirre as the infant screaming on the beach.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the cast for Jaws.
Well, there's only like 7 people that are actually in this movie. The rest are just a bunch of extras, and
well, they're all the whole actual island
is not.
They were all extras. The whole island was extras, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say without saying it.
So that's the cast. Guess we can go over you got the 4K and I got the Blu-ray.
Yeah. I was about to get on something else.
Very good version of that they did.
Well, I have the 4K, which has been out for a little bit now. They've actually re-released this 4K as the 50th anniversary edition and included a documentary that Steven Spielberg just taped, and really cool of them. The Fandango, if you have the 4K, they actually give you that hour and a half show for free on there, so you don't have to. They're not making you double dip like the old days of DVD. Really good documentary that I watched that whole thing, and it was fun. A lot of it was more of, I don't know, it was more of a nod to Spielberg than the movie. It was a lot of J.J. Abrams, a lot of directors, even George Lucas was on there, how that movie influenced them. So there was a lot of influence outside of any kind of horror, suspense realm just from Spielberg doing this. And that's a really good watch if you can look at it, go for it. I just got a weird notice. That's why I got lost.
Well, Universal did a really good job on restoring it for sure.
Well, this is an actual I don't know what you got, but this 4K got even more restoration.
Well, they restored this off the original negatives, so and they showed the process on there. There's a thing on here where they show them how they did the restoration.
Yeah,
and it's very cool to see how they did that. They actually
the picture on this is absolutely phenomenal for what it is. It did seem a bit darker than I remembered, but I didn't have a problem with that. I think I don't know about your Blu-ray, but the 4Ks do come off a bit darker on a lot of these movies because that's how they originally were. You know, when you're in the theater, there's a lot of dark movie scenes, and I don't think they produced those well on prior to the 4K format. Just an opinion. Now I was looking, I got a notice that said my camera is at 20%. I ain't ever had that pop up before, so that threw me off of my game for a minute.
Camera is at 20%.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? It just popped up and it got me off track.
Your camera on your phone?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway,
That's weird.
this is definitely a 5-star release on the 4K, and Universal put it out. It's not by Scream Factory or anybody else. Universal kick ass on this shit sometimes.
Yeah.
They still are big on physical media, and they also support Peacock. So you can watch most of the Universal things on Peacock at various times of the year. All the Jaws are out there right now on Peacock. If you want to watch them, they're there. Probably won't be there forever since it's the 50th anniversary. It's sometimes hard to find 2, 3, and that weird 4, which Jaws the Revenge. That movie was stupid. 2 and 3 are good to look at, but yeah.
Do you remember these?
Yeah.
That's how old this is. I bought this at least 10 years ago for sure. The old ultraviolet digital copy that you can.
Yeah.
I don't even think they have that shit anymore, do they?
No, it's Movies Anywhere now.
Oh.
Which everybody but Paramount and Lionsgate are a part of.
I wonder if the code still works.
Probably not. You could give it out on the air and see if somebody wants it. If it works. Since you don't do digital. I always forget what to call that. It is actually called digital. It's not streaming. And digital, like right now, Final Destination just came out this week. It's $24, but I'm damn tempted to just buy it because I was going to go to the theater and see it. I love my Fandango / Voodoo. And actually, I believe whoever's behind Universal own that now, Comcast. But they're still doing a good job with the former Voodoo, now Fandango. But yeah, definitely a 5-star release. There's like 2 hours of special features on these things.
Yeah, I think I got this in the bargain bin somewhere for like $6 or something too.
I don't know where I found this, but I did. Obviously, I like Jaws enough to buy a 4K, so that should tell you a little bit about it, I guess, huh?
It's a classic, man.
Yeah.
What can you say?
I got the others just on a regular Blu-ray box set. They've actually got those out in 4K now, at least part 2. I don't know about part 3. I've always wanted to see part 3 in 3D, but I don't guess I ever will. Anyway, that's the physical media. They're also on the Fandango on sale right now. The part 1 comes with all the special features that are on the physical. So if you're not into buying these things, then go over to Fandango and check it out. Or if you're a cheap ass, go to old Peacock and watch it there. Universal has everybody covered. So thumbs up to Universal Pictures, still one of the best movie companies in the world.
Yep.
Home of Frankenstein, still kicking ass.
I've owned Jaws on probably every form of physical media except 4K. So
Yeah, I'm sure I did too. Like I said, I don't remember buying this, but I remember I had it. I don't know what the story behind it is, but there you go. Good release from our friends at Universal Pictures. They need to give us a sponsorship.
all right, I guess we'll get into a trivia, and there is a lot of it.
I was afraid of that. You might have to hit some highlights if we go too long.
Hit some highlights. All right.
As long as you don't give the goofs. I hate it when you do goofs. I think you've stopped goofs.
I don't like the goofs anymore.
There's probably a lot of goofs in this, and I don't want to hear about the goofs.
Several decades after the film's release, Lee Fierro, who played Mrs. Kintner, walked into a seafood restaurant and noticed an Alex Kintner sandwich on the menu. She commented that she had played his mother many years ago. Jeffrey Voorhees, who played Alex Kintner, was the manager of the restaurant and ran out to meet her. They hadn't seen each other since the original movie was shot. Well, that's a little heartwarming little thing there for Jaws.
Jowls.
When composer John Williams originally played the score for director Steven Spielberg, Spielberg laughed and said, "That's funny, John. Really, but what did you really have in mind for the theme of Jaws?"
Right.
Spielberg later stated that without Williams' score, the movie would have only been half as successful. According to Williams, it jump-started his career.
All true.
All
true. Again, very Hitchcock Psycho right there.
Mm-hmm.
You take the music out of Psycho, it's not a good movie. Think you take the music out of Jaws, it definitely wouldn't be as good a movie. Scores are important.
Yes, they are.
As we talk about every week. You know, Jerry Pauly always liked it when we talked about the music and the score. So shout out to our friend Jerry.
Yep. All right. According to Carl Gottlieb, Roy Scheider ad-libbed the line, "You're gonna need a bigger boat." And
I think that line gets overrated.
You think so?
Yeah. And they had to like throw it in there because didn't Jaws just like show up? And then they actually mentioned that in one of the things that they had to like say it again or something.
Extend the scene.
Yeah.
So they had to extend the scene of him walking backwards off the back of the boat. So he just threw that in and he left it in. According to director Spielberg, the prop arm looked too fake in the scene where Christie's remains are discovered. So instead, they buried a female cruise member in the sand with only her arm exposed and then threw the crabs all over it.
Oh, wow.
So it was a real human arm.
It was a real human, not a fake.
Over 67 million people in the U.S. went to see this film when it was initially released in 1975. Just under a third of the country's total population at the time.
See, I didn't know that it was a buzz from the beginning. I thought this might have been a slow build.
Like we said, making it the first summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Now, they were originally going to release this in October, like they're doing this, the 50th anniversary
the re-release,
one, like you said. Because back in the summer, they didn't like to release big movies because everybody was always out doing stuff and not going to the movies. But I went to the movie all the time when I was a kid in the summer.
Well, I mean, that's all I've ever known was the summer, is my age range.
But usually they release blockbusters out around the holidays and shit like that.
Yeah,
So
I remember when Friday nights were like the big TV night. Now nobody, watches TV on Friday night. Well, obviously not with the world of streaming, but network TV was big on Fridays when Dallas and stuff was out. So
yeah,
times change and things change. So yeah, not having a summer blockbuster is foreign to me, but I could see it, I guess. Maybe there's a lot more fun stuff to do in the 70s than go to the movies in the summer. I don't know.
I was in the woods most of the time in the summer.
No telling what you were doing in the woods. I probably don't want to know.
Though respected as an actor, Robert Shaw's trouble with alcohol was a frequent source of tension during filming. In later interviews, Roy Schreider described his co-star as a perfect gentleman whenever he was sober. All he needed was one drink, and then he turned into a competitive son of a bitch. According to Carl Gottlieb's book, The Jaws Log, Shaw was having a drink between takes and announced, "I wish I could quit drinking," to the surprise and horror of the crew. Richard Dreyfuss grabbed Shaw's glass and tossed it in the ocean, much to Shaw's chagrin. Shaw allegedly bullied Dreyfuss for the rest of the shoot, offering him $1,000 to climb the 70-foot mast and jump into the ocean, calling Dreyfuss a coward whenever he refused. One day, Shaw sprayed him with a fire hose, causing an enraged Dreyfuss to storm off, saying, "That's it. I don't want to work with you anymore. Go fuck yourself." Then it came time to shoot the famous USS Indianapolis scene. Shaw attempted to do the monologue while intoxicated, as it called for the men to be drinking late at night. Nothing in the take could be used. A remorseful Shaw called Spielberg late that night and asked if he could have another try. The next day of shooting, Shaw's electrifying performance was done in one take, which that probably is one of the most memorable scenes of the movie.
By far.
Spielberg said that when he first read the novel, he found himself rooting for the shark because the human characters were so unlikable. Yeah, in the book, the Mrs. Brody cheats with the
Yeah, that
name?
that was like I heard that when they were on the extra features or special commentaries, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
He's cheating on him and all kinds of fun stuff.
yeah. Composer John Williams conducted the orchestra during the 1976 Academy Awards. So when it was announced that he won the Oscar for Best Score, he had to run up to the podium to accept his Oscar and then run back to continue conducting the orchestra.
Isn't that funny?
That's badass, I think. And yeah, they were nominated. Spielberg didn't get nominated for Best Director, and I guess he was sort of bitter about it. They
He
showed
was.
they showed him they showed an interview of him on the special features of him watching on the TV the nominations for the Oscars that year, and he's holding his hand and his face in his hand. He's like, "I wasn't nominated. I wasn't nominated." And
Okay.
so he was sort of pissed about that. But they were nominated for Best Film, which they didn't win. Lost out to Cuckoo's Nest. One Flew
Well,
the Cuckoo's Nest.
that'd be hard to beat for a
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. That was a very good movie.
Yeah.
Um, but they did win Best Music, Best Score, and Best Screenplay, I think, too. Let's see here. We already know that Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss can't stand each other.
Yes.
According to the Making of Jaws 1995 documentary, the shooting star that appears during the night scene as Brody loaded his revolver was real, not an optical effect. However, years later, has been shown that indeed it was added in post production. The scene where they are visible was shot during the day with a filter over the lens to make it look like nighttime, and therefore would not have shown a shooting star. In addition to this, a shooting star has been one of Spielberg's calling cards in numerous movies.
Yeah, that was a cool part.
Have you seen the shooting star?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't notice it when they watch the movie.
I noticed it last night and pointed it out.
Oh, let's see here. We talked a little bit about this. We said it opened up on June 20th, 1975. It was supposed to be released in theaters for Christmas of 74. But because filming ran away over shooting schedule, its release was pushed back to the summer of 75. So that's when, like we said, they used to put the worst movies out during the summer back then. Because, like, they
And
thought
it
people
blew
were
up.
always.
I forgot this was a big novel, so I guess it would have had a lot of.
Yeah, as soon as they announced it was going to be made into a movie,
It was a lot of hype.
He sold like 1 million copies in like 4 days, dude. So helped him out a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But he made his money back on the books because he only sold the rights for the movie for 250,000. So he made out like a bandit anyway. He said they offered him that, and he's like, "Shit, I got $300 in my bank account. I'm taking it."
Yeah, I mean, who knows that he would have got another offer.
Yep, exactly.
You just don't know how things are going to turn out and shit.
Yep. The scene where the head pops out of the hole in the boat was not originally scripted. Spielberg says he got greedy after he saw the preview audience's reaction to the scene where the shark jumps out behind Brody's head and wanted one more scare. So that was it. And they shot that scene in somebody's swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Bruce, the shark, has 4 minutes of screen time in the whole movie.
I thought you said about Bruce Campbell for a minute. Yeah, the shark was named Bruce. You're right.
Yep.
He's only in it 4 times. God damn.
4 minutes of screen time out of a fucking 2 hour and 4 minute movie
About a shark.
Yep.
I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, I don't know.
It's just, you knew even when he wasn't coming. That's another thing about the music. You knew.
Yeah, the music gave it away.
Yep. So even if you didn't see the shark. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think even Spielberg said if the shark had been in it more, it would have probably not been as good a movie. So
Spielberg was not the original director of Jaws. Dick Richards was fired after a meeting with producers and studio execs. In the meeting, he said that his opening shot would have the camera come out of the water to show the town. Then the whale would come out of the water.
Yeah, he kept calling it a whale. I remember that.
Producers said that they were not making Moby Dick, and they would not work with someone who did not know the difference between a whale and a shark. I fucking don't blame them one bit.
I don't know. We had that Orca, the killer whale movie come out, so maybe that guy was involved in that one.
Maybe, who knows? I don't know. I
No,
think Orca was a book too by Benchley.
Might have been. Orca was also the name of the boat.
Yep, it was the name of the boat too.
See, I do know more about Jaws than I thought. Maybe it's because I just watched it, but I'm surprised at myself that I do know a little bit.
This was entirely filmed, well, not entirely filmed, but mostly filmed in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, used as Amity Island, primarily because even 12 miles out to sea, the sandy bottom was only 30 feet deep, allowing the mechanical shark to function. Residents were paid $64 to scream and run across the beach as extras. Oh, that's funny. $64 for a day.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Already talked about that. Just all the trouble they had on this. they tested the shark back in Hollywood, you know,
And it worked fine.
Worked fine in the lake there on the Universal lot. Then they get it in the ocean, and the fucking salt water just fucked it up.
That's what fucked it up was the ocean.
The
Okay.
salt water, yeah, that's why they had their problems. Salt water don't like electronics, dude.
No, it doesn't. I've killed 2 Fitbits in the ocean. The first
Yep.
time I didn't realize it. The second time I did, and yeah, you can wear these things anywhere. Don't wear them in salt water. They'll survive forever till they hit that salt water. It will fuck electronics up and a lot of other stuff. Unless you've been in the ocean, you don't realize how salty that water is.
Exactly.
So that's why the shark didn't work.
Yeah.
Changed the whole future of the movie. The shark breaking.
Yeah, and they had, I guess everybody had handheld radios, you know, like almost everybody in the crew. And you could hear everybody's radio going off. The shark's not working. The shark's not working. Yeah, they had that ended up taking them like 4 or 5 months to get the shark working after the start of production.
Well, I know they had to go back. They used I think the MGM lot to do some post production too.
Let's see here. Roy Scheider stated in an interview that in the scene where Mrs. Kintner smacks him in the face, she was actually hitting him. Apparently, the actress could not fake a slap, so the 17 takes were some of the most painful of Scheider's acting career. Also, Fierro stated that in several interviews that one of the takes when she slapped him, his glasses fell off. She did look at it. He is getting hit hard. But Spielberg took 17 takes and he had to get that hand just right on his face. Spielberg's biggest fear, other than appearance, performance of the mechanical shark, was that cameras would catch sight of land. The reason Spielberg did not want land to be seen was because he thought the audience could envision the characters having the option to just running back to shore when in danger. He wanted to isolate the audience as much as the characters.
Yeah, did a good job with that.
And I guess they had problems. They had a regatta going on when they were filming, and fucking sailboats kept coming in front of the shot. So they'd have to wait. You're in the ocean. Shit don't.
Yeah, you can't stop the ocean.
You're moving all the time. That's why it was so hard to. So they'd have to wait an hour and a half for everything to settle down and get back into spot. And then here'd come another one, so they'd have to wait another hour and a half. No wonder it took fucking 7 months to make. Let's see here. An accident during filming caused the orca to begin sinking. Spielberg began screaming over a bullhorn for the nearby safety boats to rescue the actors. John R. Carter, already up to his knees in water, was sinking on the sinking orca, held his Niagara tape recorder up over his head and screamed, "Fuck the actors, save the sound department." During the accident, the film camera was submerged, so its film, still submerged in seawater, was assumed to be ruined. However, once it was realized that developing solution is saline, the film was flown back to New York Film Lab. The technicians didn't lose any of the footage. Accident is described starting on the making of Jaws, the 30th anniversary DVD. That's sort of cool that they didn't lose it and have to reshoot all that shit.
That would have really fucked them up.
There were 3 Bruces made.
And I know this story. See, I do know more about this than I thought.
Each with specialized functions. One shark was open on the right side, one was open on the left side, and the third was fully skinned. Each shark cost approximately $250,000 to make. Lots of servos and shit in that motherfucker. And lots of wiring and shit in there. So
To get fucked in the ocean.
no shit. Let's see here. Most of the film was shot handheld to best counter the ocean swell. You'd have to. You couldn't have a stationary camera to film that with the boat rocking back and forth and shit. Quint's boat is named Orca, like you said. Being a shark hunter by profession, Quint knows that orcas, traditionally known as killer whales, are the only known predator of the great white shark.
That's true. I've watched many Discovery Channel shows about the orcas hunting the whales. They eat their livers or their kidneys or something, and that's it.
Brody's dog in the movie was actually Spielberg's real dog, Elmer.
Well, we know George Lucas had a dog named Indiana.
Did he?
The whole George Lucas, Steven Spielberg friendship is legendary in Hollywood.
Yeah. When Midwestern audiences were shown an early cut of the film, they were so shocked by the pop-up scare that occurs when the great white shark breaches the surface of the water as Brody chums off the bow of the boat that their reactions drowned out his iconic comment, "You're going to need a bigger boat."
Yeah, we talked about that one.
After reviewing their taping of the moment, the filmmakers extended the sequence, adding another 10.6 meters of film to give the audience enough time to recover to enjoy the much needed moment of comic relief.
Whatever on that one.
It is over fucking done.
Yeah.
People just use it for stupid shit now, that saying.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There were two 300-pound weights attached to Susan Backlini that were being tugged on by two groups of crewmen on shore. One group would pull right and one group would pull left. It took 3 days to film that sequence. That's the opening sequence of Chrissy. And we've talked about a lot of this other stuff, so
Okay.
just yeah, they just had so many issues and such a big crew on this. It was crazy
Yeah.
to all be in the ocean. So all right, what are you gonna rate this movie as? And
You go first. It's your movie.
you want me? It's my movie. I didn't pick it.
You said this is one of your top 10 of all time.
Yeah, but I didn't pick it. But anyway.
You go first.
All right.
I went first last week.
Seen this movie when it came out opening weekend, dude.
Not me.
I remember where I seen what the movie theater I seen it at. Fox Theater in Peoria, Illinois. And I don't know if they did this at all at other theaters, but they had like a 15-foot round swimming pool out in the fucking parking lot with a fucking guy swimming around with a shark fin on his back.
I thought you were gonna say a fart machine.
Got tongue tied there. So I thought that was pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I love this movie. I've loved it since the first time I seen it. I've probably actually went to see it 3 or 4 or 5 other times that summer to go see it. It's about like when Star Wars come out, everybody would go to the theater 20 times and see Star Wars.
For me, that would have been Batman in '89. My friend David Still saw that movie, I think 250 times in the theater. He went every day while it was still in release after work because he worked right by the mall. Not lying.
Yeah, I think my dad actually went to go see this with us too for some reason. I don't know. I think he liked Robert Shaw from one of the From Russia with Love. I think he was Robert
Yeah,
Shaw was in.
James Bond. Yeah.
The old man was a pretty big James Bond fan, and I think he actually went with us, which was fucking very unusual. And don't remember what he thought about it or anything like that, But pretty sure he jumped a couple times though, if I remember right. But yeah, I can't. There's nothing bad I can say about this movie, man. Uh, everything, acting in it was top notch. Uh, just the little quirky, stupid bullshit, that I sort of liked it too. Uh, I'm gonna give it a 5 for sure.
Okay. Well, I definitely don't have the links or draw to Jaws that you have. I didn't see it in the theater. I guess ever. Um, I remember the first time I saw it, I thought it was a little on the boring side back then. That would have probably been in the 80s because I was expecting it to be basically a shark jumping around 24/7, and it's not. Would you say he's only in it 4 minutes? Now, as I'm older, I realized that that was a smart thing and that made the movie. With the shark in it, it would have just been, it wouldn't have worked. Um, I do feel like this movie is slow in places. Again, I had a 5-year-old trying to watch it. He finally just said, I'm going to the other room. When Jaws shows up, call me back. So, um,
That's
it
funny.
definitely has its slower moments and a little bit of dumbness to it, I guess, but it is the 70s. But iconic movie this is. That new documentary, all these filmmakers are definitely influenced by the way Spielberg made this and how he his actual direction of it. So you got an iconic movie here that was sort of hidden in a horror movie that's not a horror movie. I think that that term is bad for some movies, and in this one it would be. It's not a horror movie. Um, Honestly, there's not much bad I can say about it. I don't think I'm going to give it a true 5, but I'll give it a 4.5. It's got a few moments that are just a little slow for me.
It was definitely a moneymaker.
That Robert Shaw guy's annoying too sometimes. They
That
said he
was
was an alcoholic. I think his character's just a little bit over the top. That might be where I give it a few points off.
Well,
Um,
they wanted to have a scene in there with him watching movie Moby Dick in a movie theater, laughing out loud the whole time.
that would have really.
That would have fucking sucked.
Roy Schreider, whatever his name is, and Richard Dreyfuss are perfect in their roles. So
Yeah.
very good acting job by both of those two men. So yeah, I definitely think Jaws is a must see for everybody. Now Nikolai's comment was, I said, Nico, they're about to kill Jaws, and he watched Jaws blow up, and then he looked at me and said, that wasn't Jaws, that was Jaws' brother. Jaws will come back in the next movie. So according to Nikolai, that was not Jaws that died; it was his brother.
It's funny.
So I guess I have to show the kid Jaws 2 soon. Or I'm thinking the shark is in it a lot more than 4 minutes.
And another thing, the merch for this movie too. There hadn't been really a movie that had come out that before that the merch was so hot. They had Jaws fucking everything back in the day, dude.
Yeah, that makes
I had a
sense.
Jaws t-shirt, and I think that Christmas I got the Jaws game. Do you remember the Jaws game? You ever seen it?
No, I don't remember
Where you
that.
try to fish the fucking shit out of its mouth with a fish hook.
Sounds like a
And it,
operation.
and it was run on fucking rubber bands, and fucking the rubber bands would break, and then he'd have to try to find rubber bands to play the motherfucker because it only came with like 5 rubber bands. Oh shit!
But definitely this is an iconic movie that
Definitely.
should not be called a horror movie.
No, I don't
That would
consider.
probably be the only thing that hurts it there. That people are going to expect Jaws to jump out like this picture every 5 minutes, and he doesn't. And I'm glad he doesn't. That save that for Jaws 2 and Jaws 3 and all the fake Jaw movies that come after it. There's like how many shark movies now?
Oh, I
Some
know.
of them are actually pretty good.
Sharknado.
Most of them are dumb, but there's been a couple shark movies that are pretty decent. But Jaws definitely was an influence on lots of people, lots of movie directors, and lots of producers, and
What
made
was that?
Steven Spielberg a household name.
Yep, for sure. He went on to do some more blockbusters for sure.
Oh yeah,
What was the name of that movie where the couple was out? Were diving and the boat left them out in the middle of the fucking ocean,
yeah.
open water. That was it. That movie was a trip.
Deep Blue Sea is another one of interest. I think that's the one that had Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's
didn't he get?
something like
Didn't he
48
get eat?
meters down. I don't know what it is. I had to take one of the kids to see that at the theater, and I'm like, I don't want to go see some fake Jaws movie. It was a good movie. So there's a few good shark movies out there, but none of them will beat the original Jaws, king of all shark movies,
No, King of all sharks.
even though he's only in it for 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I know. That's fucking funny. When I fucking seen that, I was like, God damn.
Well, it's sort of not true because you see his fin a whole lot,
Yeah.
but the actual, I guess, the robotic shark is, I don't know. But, it's back then, that was our special effects. There weren't no computer graphics. So
Nope. Nope.
shark broke,
All-
so they made do and they made a
All
good movie.
practical.
Yep. I think Dick Warlock was involved in something in
Yeah,
this
he was like stunt coordinator or some
Yeah.
shit.
Our Michael Myers from Halloween 2.
Yeah. He's on the interview too. But yeah, for a movie that was so time consuming to make, uh did a great job for sure, man.
So it's in your top 10 of all time, huh?
Yeah, it's in my top 10 of all time of all movies. Not
I
just
wouldn't
horror.
put it in my top 10, but I'm weird. Anybody that would have Evil Dead 2 in their top 10 of all time, I guess, is a weird person, and that would be me.
Oh shit. Well, all right. Happy birthday, Jaws.
Yeah, happy anniversary, birthday, Giles, Bruce, not
Bruce.
Campbell.
So I guess that's all we got for Jaws. And make sure you enter the contest if you're around North Texas here and want to go to a convention for free.
Next week will be Evil Talk with Greg joining us as always, our
Yep.
permanent co-host of Evil Talk.
Yep. So thanks everybody for watching and listening, and been getting a couple more people in the group lately too.
The group is getting pretty active, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not very active in it, honestly. Maybe I should get a little more active. I don't know.
Yeah, you should.
I haven't been posting on Facebook a lot here lately until tonight.
Till tonight. We won't even go into that.
No.
All right, everybody. Thanks again and appreciate you, and stay evil, everybody.
There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws. From the best-selling novel, Jaws. Rated PG. May be too intense for younger children.